And have you got, can you see everything? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so today I'm going to show you guys how to do the wax inlay technique. And the first thing that I should caution you about this technique, and this is a technique I do all the time, is that when I do it, I'm working on greenware. So it means that this piece has been made and it's completely dry, completely void of water. The caution with that is that, you know, I pretty much tell you guys to never do anything with greenware because it's very fragile. So you have to have a sensitivity to the clay and know that you're not going to, you know, break something off. Now, I mean, the best way of getting that sensitivity is to actually break something because you don't, you know what it's going to be like until you get to that point. So if you do choose to do this, you have to be very, very careful with your pieces as you're doing it. So the first thing I'm going to do is take wax resist. I haven't got much in here, but it'll be enough. And I'm going to use, I got this brush, which is specifically for wax, although I'm going to show you how to clean it in the end. And the biggest thing that students do wrong with wax resist is they put too much on because it's clear. So they think they have to glop it on until it's yellow, but you actually want to try to not put much on. And I decorate the bottoms of my pieces, so I put it everywhere because I'm not really sure when I do it exactly where I'm going to add decorations. Bless you. And if I don't get it completely covered, then when I add the underglaze to it, it'll just stain the part that I don't have covered. So I just cover the whole thing with it. And if I see it beading up, I try to move it around because the beads are just going to be thick spots. So I try to move that around as much as I can. Now, I used to kind of, well, I've done this a couple of times and I have learned that I actually think that it is better to apply the wax and decorate on the same day. Because I think the wax becomes a little bit brittle after a day or two, and it's more likely to chip, and it wipes off easier. And I could be totally making this up, but it's been my experience that it seems to wipe off a little bit easier as well. So I like to do it and then design it on the same day. Now the piece of the clay that I am using here has no grog in it whatsoever. It's very smooth clay body. So when I make lines, I get a pretty straight, smooth line. Oh, I forgot one important thing. If you have grog in your clay, every time your tool hits a piece of grog, it's going to make a little, you know, bump in the line, but that's okay. Okay, so then sometimes I have myself, because I get impatient and I don't like those thick spots, I keep an extra little sponge around that I can get wax on and it's not an issue. You really don't want to do it on your sponge and your toolkit, because if you get wax on your toolkit sponge and then you go and wipe it on a bisqueware pot or something like that, you can actually get wax resist on that pot. And then when you go to glaze it, you'll get a bald spot and you'll be very happy. So I try to keep the things that I'm going to use my wax on separate. And I'm just wiping off excess stuff with it. I just cut a piece of foam so that I can do that. I'm just cutting off the extra. And then this has to dry. So that only takes a second. But what I'm going to do while it's drying is show you how to clean the brush. So, and it's not going to be a very good demo because I'm here instead of at the sink. But with wax resist, you want to use soap and water. So I would take this to the sink and get it wet, and then I would put the soap in my hand. And hot water, although not scalding hot, but hot water is nice because it softens the wax too, so that you can get it all out of there. This isn't hot, but. So I really work soap into the bristles and then hot water, and that's how I kind of clean my brush and my sponges. Okay, so while I was doing that, hopefully that dried up a little bit, and now I'm going to do my design work. Let's take a pin tool. So here comes rule number 2 that I'm going to break, that I always tell you guys, which is never insides with a pin tool. But with this you can, because it's totally greenware. First of all, it's already started shrinking, right? So your line doesn't shrink as much. Second of all, I'm going to do my cloud design. I don't know if you can see very well. I'll try to do it like this. I forgot what I was saying there about greenware. Oh, the other thing is when you do this, you don't get those burrs, or those sharp spots that you do when the clay is leather hard, because it's greenware and it just kind of brushes away. You can keep like a damp sponge or just barely damp to kind of like wipe it clean as you're working too. So I would just keep going through here. And basically what's happening is I'm carving through the wax into the greenware. Oh, it's good when it's videotaping? Hi. Is it for Jorlyn? Yeah. She's not here. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. And then I like to do like fun Zen-tangly things in there. And you could just really play and get really fine lines with this. Also, don't wear black pants, because as you can see, I'm making a huge mess out of myself. These little crumbly bits here, just so you know, because they're greenware, right? So when they go in the air, that's another reason I don't want you guys to work with greenware, is because when the dust particles go up in the air, then you breathe them in, that's the free silicone, that's the silicosis stuff, right? Now I have found a couple things help. Number one, the wax actually kind of adheres to them, so it's not as powdery, you know, it doesn't seem to blow up into my face, which is good. Otherwise I would rethink this technique. And then the other thing is the more you can, like I usually shake whatever I can into a garbage can, and then the more you can clean with wet things, the less dust you're going to create. So if you have that sponge by you, I don't like to use the sponge right away, because I don't want to brush those crumbs back into the cracks that the lines that I just cut out of there. So I like to get as much off as I can just by shaking it into the garbage can before I wipe it. Alright, so that's like one set of clouds. So the first thing I would do is over a garbage can or something, I'd get off as much as I could, and then if you have that damp sponge, you can kind of wipe it clean, or sometimes I'll just use one of these that's kind of dry actually, and just wipe it. And I'll get those crumblies off without kicking up a bunch of dust, okay? So, the next thing I'm going to do, after I would finish designing everything I wanted to design, I'd add my underglaze. You can use any color you want, because you can make the lines any color you want. I usually choose black, and then I add the stroke and coats after it's been bisque fired over the top of it. I'm going to use a different brush for this. And then if I was a good teacher, I'd have an actual paint palette. And sometimes I thin it out. Like if it won't go down into the lines, I'll put just a little bit of water in my brush to make it go in there. And then what you can do is you can just paint right over it. And this is where I would probably add water to this because it's not going in the lines. It should just kind of flow into there. And since the wax is all over the rest of the cup, it won't get black on the cup. When I go to wipe this off, the black will only stay inside the lines. And I really should have clean and non-waxy sponges and non-waxy water, but... So if you over wipe it, you will begin to wipe the wax off. So at the end I kind of like dab it because, and I don't wipe the wax off as easily when I do it on the same day as I have found, like if I wait a day. But you do have to be a little bit gentle when you're wiping so that you don't wipe the wax off too. Okay, so that's what wax inlay is.